Imagine a story so shocking, so disturbing, that it has left scholars and theologians puzzled for centuries. A tale of survival, desperation, and moral ambiguity. This is the story of Lot's daughters, who, in an act of sheer desperation, got their father drunk to commit an unthinkable deed. Why would Lot's daughters resort to such an extreme measure? What circumstances drove them to this point? And what does this story reveal about the human condition in ancient times? Context. To understand this unsettling narrative, we must first know who Lot was. Lot, the nephew of the patriarch Abraham, lived in a time of great upheaval and moral decay. He settled in the city of Sodom, a place notorious for its wickedness. The Bible recounts how God decided to destroy Sodom and its twin city, Gomorrah, due to their inhabitants' grave sins. Lot and his family were warned by angels to flee, sparing them from the impending doom. As fire and brimstone rained down upon the cities, Lot's wife, looking back at their home, turned into a pillar of salt. Lot and his daughters escaped to the mountains, leaving behind a life they once knew, now engulfed in flames. But this is where the story takes a dark turn. Isolated in a cave, with no husbands to secure their lineage, Lot's daughters faced a grim reality. In their desperation, they concocted a plan that would shockingly involve their own father. What led them to believe this was their only option? What cultural and historical factors influenced their dire decision? Transition to deeper analysis. In the next sections, we will dive deeper into the background of Lot's journey, the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, and the harrowing events that followed. We'll explore the daughters' rationale, their plan, and the act itself. Then, we'll analyze the moral and ethical implications, providing insights from scholars and theologians. Finally, we'll discuss the historical and cultural context and the modern relevance of this disturbing story. Stay with us as we unravel the layers of this ancient tale, revealing the complexities of human nature, survival, and morality. By examining each facet of this story, we aim to uncover the motivations and societal pressures that led to such a desperate act. Prepare to be both shocked and enlightened as we journey through one of the Bible's most controversial and thought-provoking narratives. This story not only challenges our understanding of biblical events, but also invites us to reflect on the extremes of human behavior in times of crisis. Lot's story begins long before the infamous event involving his daughters. He was the nephew of Abraham, one of the most significant figures in biblical history. Lot journeyed with Abraham from their homeland in Ur to Canaan, following God's call. Their families and possessions grew so vast that the land couldn't support both, leading Abraham to suggest they part ways. Lot chose the fertile plains of Jordan and settled in the city of Sodom. Sodom and Gomorrah were cities known for their wickedness and moral corruption. Despite this, Lot and his family made their home there. The Bible describes Sodom as a place where the outcry against its inhabitants' sins reached God, prompting divine intervention. God decided to destroy these cities, but chose to save Lot and his family because of Abraham's pleas. Two angels, disguised as men, visited Sodom to warn Lot of the impending destruction. The citizens of Sodom, known for their depravity, attempted to assault the angels, but Lot protected them, showcasing his righteousness amidst the city's corruption. The angels then revealed their true purpose, to save Lot and his family before the cities were annihilated. Lot, his wife, and his two daughters fled Sodom at dawn. The angels instructed them not to look back as they escaped. Tragically, Lot's wife disobeyed and was turned into a pillar of salt as she glanced back at the burning city. This left Lot and his daughters to continue their flight alone, burdened with the loss and trauma of witnessing their home and loved ones perish. They sought refuge in a cave in the mountains, far from the destroyed cities. Here, Isolated and with no prospects of finding husbands, Lot's daughters faced a dire situation. In their minds, the destruction they witnessed seemed like the end of the world, and with it, the end of their lineage. This grim scenario set the stage for the daughters' desperate plan. Their cultural context and the importance of preserving their family line weighed heavily on them. They believed that their only hope for survival and continuity was to ensure they had descendants, even if it meant resorting to drastic measures. In the following sections, we'll explore the daughters' plan in detail, understand their motivations, and delve into the cultural and historical influences that led them to such an extreme decision. The story of Lot and his daughters is one of the most morally and ethically challenging narratives in the Bible. It raises profound questions about human behavior, societal norms, and survival instincts. In this section, we will explore the various moral and ethical dimensions of this story, drawing insights from scholars and theologians who have grappled with its implications for centuries. Moral dimensions. At the heart of this story lies a fundamental moral dilemma. Lot's daughters, in their desperate bid to preserve their family line, engaged in an act that violates contemporary ethical standards. Incest, as depicted in this narrative, is condemned in most cultures and religious traditions. The daughters' actions, while driven by desperation, challenge our understanding of morality and the boundaries of acceptable behavior. Ethical considerations. The ethical implications of this story extend beyond the act of incest itself. Lot's daughters believed they were acting out of necessity, driven by the fear that their family line would perish. This raises the question of whether desperate circumstances can justify actions that are otherwise morally reprehensible. The concept of moral relativism comes into play, suggesting that moral judgments can vary based on the context and situation. Scholarly interpretations. Biblical scholars and theologians have offered various interpretations of this story. Some view it as a cautionary tale, highlighting the dangers of moral decay and the consequences of living in a corrupt society, like Sodom. Others interpret it as a reflection of the harsh realities faced by Lot's daughters, emphasizing their vulnerability and lack of options. Survival instincts. From a psychological perspective, the daughters' actions can be seen as a manifestation of survival instincts. Faced with what they perceived as the end of their world, they took extreme measures to ensure their survival and the continuation of their lineage. This aspect of the story underscores the powerful influence of survival instincts on human behavior, even when such actions conflict with societal norms. Cultural context. Understanding the cultural context of the time is crucial in interpreting this story. In ancient societies, the preservation of family lines and the continuation of one's lineage were of utmost importance. Lot's daughters were likely influenced by these cultural imperatives, which may have contributed to their decision to act as they did. The lack of male heirs and the isolation they experienced heightened their sense of urgency and desperation. Theological perspectives. Theologically, this story raises questions about divine judgment and mercy. Lot was considered a righteous man, yet his story is marred by this disturbing episode. Some theologians argue that this narrative serves as a testament to human fallibility and the complexity of moral choices. It also highlights the idea that even those deemed righteous are not immune to making morally questionable decisions. Modern relevance. The story of Lot and his daughters continues to be relevant in contemporary discussions about morality and ethics. It challenges us to consider how we judge actions taken under extreme circumstances and whether our moral frameworks can accommodate such complexities. It also invites reflection on the role of cultural and societal influences in shaping our ethical judgments. Reflection. In reflecting on this story, we are reminded of the fragile nature of human morality. Lot's daughters were driven by fear and a desire to preserve their family, yet their actions have left a lasting legacy of controversy and ethical debate. This narrative encourages us to delve deeper into the motivations behind human actions and the factors that influence our moral decisions. As we continue to explore the historical and cultural context in the next section, we will gain a deeper understanding of the environment in which Lot's daughters made their fateful decision. Join us as we examine the broader implications of this ancient tale and its enduring significance. To fully understand the actions of Lot's daughters, it's crucial to consider the historical and cultural context in which they lived. This period was marked by distinct societal norms and values, many of which differ drastically from those of modern times. Cultural importance of lineage. In ancient Near Eastern societies, lineage and family legacy were of paramount importance. The preservation of one's family line was not just a personal responsibility, but a societal imperative. Children, especially sons, were seen as a means to ensure the continuation of the family name and property. This cultural value heavily influenced the decisions and actions of Lot's daughters. Faced with the extinction of their family line, they resorted to drastic measures, believing it was their only option to fulfill their cultural duty. Survival. After catastrophe, the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah was a cataclysmic event, leaving Lot and his daughters as survivors in a world they believed had been largely obliterated. In their isolated cave, cut off from any broader community, the daughters' perception of reality was likely skewed by trauma and fear. They might have genuinely believed that humanity had been wiped out, which added a sense of urgency to their actions. The need to ensure survival, both personal and familial, became their primary focus. Comparative ancient practices, incestuous relationships, while taboo in most modern cultures, were not entirely unheard of in ancient times, particularly in royal or isolated communities aiming to preserve bloodlines. For instance, Egyptian pharaohs often married their siblings to maintain the purity of their lineage. While Lot's daughters' actions were extreme, they were not entirely outside the realm of historical precedent for ensuring family continuity. Religious and moral codes. The story of Lot and his daughters is set against the backdrop of emerging religious and moral codes that would later be formalized in the Mosaic Law. These codes, which included strict prohibitions against incest, were part of a broader effort to establish a moral framework for the nascent Israelite society. The narrative serves as a prelude to these laws, highlighting the chaos and moral ambiguity that can arise in their absence. Legacy and impact. The sons born from Lot's daughters, Moab and Ben-Ammi, became the ancestors of the Moabite and Ammonite nations. These nations played significant roles in the region's history, often in conflict with the Israelites. This legacy underscores the far-reaching consequences of the daughters' actions, influencing geopolitical and cultural dynamics for generations. Modern reflections. Understanding the historical and cultural context of Lot's daughters' actions helps us appreciate the complexity of their situation. It challenges us to consider how cultural imperatives and survival instincts can drive individuals to actions that, while abhorrent by contemporary standards, were seen as necessary within their historical context. In the next section, we will explore the modern relevance of this story and what lessons we can draw from it today. Join us as we reflect on the enduring significance of this ancient narrative and its implications for contemporary discussions on morality and ethics. The story of Lot's daughters, while ancient, holds significant lessons for us today. It serves as a poignant reminder of the complexities of human behavior, especially in extreme circumstances. Here are some modern reflections on this disturbing tale. Understanding desperation. Lot's daughters' actions highlight the lengths to which people will go when driven by desperation and fear. In modern contexts, we see similar behaviors in survival scenarios where individuals make choices they would otherwise never consider. This story encourages empathy and understanding when judging others' actions, recognizing the powerful influence of dire situations. Moral relativism. The narrative challenges us to think about moral relativism, the idea that moral standards can vary based on context. While incest is universally condemned today, understanding the cultural and historical context of Lot's daughter's actions provides a nuanced perspective. It invites us to consider how our moral judgments might shift in different circumstances. Legacy and consequences. The long-term impact of Lot's daughter's actions, leading to the creation of the Moabite and Ammonite nations, illustrates how individual decisions can have far-reaching consequences. This is a valuable lesson in considering the broader implications of our actions today, especially in leadership and governance. Reflection on human nature. Ultimately, this story prompts us to reflect on the darker aspects of human nature and the capacity for both survival and moral failure. It serves as a cautionary tale about the potential consequences of living in morally corrupt societies and the importance of ethical frameworks to guide behavior. In conclusion, the story of Lot's daughters, while disturbing, provides profound insights into human behavior, morality, and the enduring impact of cultural imperatives. It challenges us to reflect on our values and the factors that shape our ethical decisions.